Miracle of Panagia Glikofilusa, the one who kisses so sweetly. The iconoclast Emperor Theophilus in Byzantium was the senate of a patrician named Simeon. Simeon had a wife that venerated and was very orthodox, a good Orthodox, called Victoria. The pious Victoria had hidden in the iconostasis of the mansion a picture of the Virgin Mary, who secretly worshipped. Unfortunately, her husband was iconoclast. Victoria told her one day, "This wretched picture has to be given to the authorities. Commanders will burn and let our place be burned down because of the church because of the icon, and they issue a research if they issue a research here and found Glikofilusa here, then we are at risk." The emperor in this issue was relentless. "I," said Victoria, "I fear nothing except God. Let me but to think what I will do tonight." That night Victoria went back to the picture and said, "My lady, enlighten me what I'm going to do with that, and your figure will be saved, and the Orthodoxy not be endangered, and the Orthodox people won't be in danger." Then came the inspiration. She took the picture of Glikofilusis, and that came that same night, and went to the beach. The mansion was near the sea. He embraced several times, and then the picture was thrown into the waves, pleasing in that way her husband and his heretics, and not to be found by the heretics. The figure instead of falling into sideways, paradoxically went erect upon the waves. Figure past Propondis, the Hellespont, and arrived of Mount Athos in the monastery of Port Filotheou. At the same time, the abbot was asleep in his cell. He had an otherworldly voice that woke him up. "Get up, abbot," the voice told him. "Descend quickly to the beach to pick my image." Indeed, they saw, and the abbot then, together with others, went to the beach. Indeed, then they saw together there. Then the abbot with the fathers went together down to the beach. Indeed, they saw there in the sand, standing upright, the image of the Holy. The abbot devoutly took her in his arms, and a new miracle happened then and followed the first. At this point, the beach found the image flowed water, which runs until today. It is the holy water of Saint Timothy. This holy water is believed by believers and Orthodox spectrum is curative against any disease. At this point, the beach found the image, flowed water, which runs until today. It is the holy water of Saint Timothy. This holy water, by believers and Orthodox spectrum, is curative against any disease. Fathers, with plenty of incense and candles, hymns and chants, brought the image to celebrate it in procession and holy water blessing. The figure does many miracles. The miraculous figure of Glikofilusa stored in monastery of Filotheou, in the left hand of the dance is of the dance of the Catholic Church of the monastery. Miracles of Panagia Glikofilusa. In the year 1801, an unknown person came to the monastery of Filotheou to pay homage to the holy icon of Panagia Glikofilusa. On it, there were some gold coins which this person wanted to steal. He got so obsessed with it, so that he stayed after the Athos, and he was hidden inside the monastery. The monk who was cleaning the monastery left, closing the gate of the temple. So the thief went, took the gold coins, and secretly he left the monastery. He went down to the harbor of the monastery of Abiron, found a ship, and went inside it so that he could leave Mount Athos. While the ship was sailing inside in the sea, it stopped in the middle of the ocean, and it wouldn't move. The captain of the ship was very, very scared about it. So were the other people who were inside the ship. The person who did that was very frightened, so he went into his room in the ship and stayed there. At the same time, at the monastery of Filotheou, the person who opens the monastery so that they can have the liturgy went inside and saw that the gold coins were not in their position. He understood what happened and told to the other brothers. They fixed a small ship and went inside, two of those monks, and went to find that person who stole the money. In the middle of the sea, they saw that there was a ship that couldn't move. Instantly, they understood that this was the ship with the person inside, so went to that ship and got into it. The person who saw that the monks were coming inside understood that this was for him, so he went to those monks and kneeled to the knees and asked for forgiveness. The brothers gave him the forgiveness, took the gold coins, and returned it back to the monastery. At the same time, the ship started to move again, and they left for their destination. A few years had passed since the founding of the holy icon of Glikofilusis, Panagia, in the monastery of Filotheou. Stephanos Kralis of Serbia conquered Macedonia and Thessaloniki and went to Mount Athos. From that day on, a lot of Bulgarian monks went to stay in the monastery of Filotheou, of Saint Filotheou, who had the ancient habit to have litany on the second day of after the resurrection of Christ, and went down to the beach and made holy water. They respected and loved the holy icon of Panagia Glikofilusa, so they took her with them to have the holy water into the waters. After walking on the streets, they ate and drank, and then returned to the monastery, chanting and praising the Lord for his resurrection, and they put the holy icon in the place that it was supposed to put it, inside the temple. After 1 year, the Bulgarian monks made this litany and took with them some food, and after the holy waters litany, they left the holy icon of Glikofilusa inside the holy water. They sat drinking and eating, and after that, uh, having been so much drunk, they slept. When they woke up, they went to the holy waters to take the holy icon and return it to their monastery. But the holy icon of Panagia Glikofilusa could not move at all. They stayed there and tried to move her, but she couldn't move at all. After that, they understood what they had done. They fell on their knees and crying and desperately praying to the Mother of God to move from that place so that they can take her to the monastery. After, the Holy Mother, seeing that they had really repented with that action, she started to move again. So they took her, and with great joy they returned to their monastery, not to do that ever again. Ever since, they had the Holy Litany as they always did, but they never did what they had done, meaning that they had never drunk again, so that the Holy Mother would not be cross with them. In the year 1713, in the holy monastery of Filotheou, a very righteous and respectful monk called Ianikius, who was every day was coming into the temple and lit the candles. He stood in front of the holy icons of Glikofilusa and started to saying the same things. Mother of God, you give all your blessings in all the other monasteries of the holy mountain of Athos, and you give them plenty of wine and oil and bread and everything that they need, and they don't have anything to complain about. But in our monastery, you don't give anything, and we always have even to buy the bread because we don't have any. He was saying all these words every day and every day in front of the icon of Panagia Glikofilusa. One of those nights, he came and started saying the same things again and lit the candles. And then he he was tired and went to sit on a chair and slept there. As he was sleeping, he saw in sleep Mother of God saying to him, for which reasons, Ianikia, you keep on saying these words, saying day and day again, every day again, because I give every blessing that the other monasteries need, and I don't give a gift to you. For this reason, I decided that from this day on, this monastery won't have any of those things, and will be as poor as no one else has ever been before. Know that I care for every one of you, every monastery on Mount Athos, but because you don't respect me and you don't believe that I give everything to every one of you, from this day on you won't have any. So start caring about your own soul and leave the caring of the monasteries to me, because I am the owner of those monasteries and I give them what they need. And with these words, Father Ianikius woke up, and he was so frightened from what he heard that he fell on his knees and started praying to the Mother of God, Glikofilusa, and saying and asking for her forgiveness for what had done to her, and went outside and saw and told the miracle and the dream to the other brothers, and everyone stood upright and were very happy that the Panagia Glikofilusa was saying all those things. And from that day on, Panagia was really taking care of their monastery, and Father Ioannikis never again said any complaints to the Mother of God, because he knew that he was taking care of their monastery as long as the other monasteries on Mount Athos. In the year 1800s, came to the holy monastery of Filotheou some pious pilgrims from the village Berovon of Thessaloniki. Came into the temple, they paid respect to the Mother of God of Glikofilusa, the icon, and watched out that she was a very beautiful icon, and they loved her very much. In the evening, the monks put those people to sleep in their hotel, in their chodarikion, in their little hotel, and one of them woke up in the middle of the night so that he would give some water and food to his horse and be sure that it was okay. He saw the gate of the outside door, and that was open, and he thought, as he was asleep, half asleep in his walking to feed his horse, he saw that it was the gate of the hotel, and saw that he came out of it so that he can go to his horse. But that wasn't the door of the hotel, but the door of the outside door, and from there he fell down, and he was falling on a pile of very big rocks. Falling down, he understood that what was happening to him. He remembered the miracles of the Glikofilusa, his Mother of God, and started crying out loud, "Please, Mother of God, help me! I'm falling. I'm going to die." And at the same moment, Panagia appeared in front of him as being as a monk, and hold him so that he wouldn't fall into the rocks. He fell slowly downside, and when he reached the rocks, he just sat upon them without hurting himself. Coming to his senses, he understood that what had happened to him, that was a great miracle, and stood up, started crying out loud and hitting the door of the monastery so that the monks could open the gate for him. He started saying, all the other monks saw that what was happening, and went to open the door and call the Geronda, the father of the monastery, and tell him that there was a person outside who was hitting the door. They opened up and saw that it was one of the pilgrims. He started saying what had happened to him, and what Mary, the Mother of God, Glikofilusa, had done to him and saved him from a certain death. That man was surely saved from a certain death, and after that he was coming every year to pay homage to the holy icon of Glikofilusa. He gave his horse to the monastery and a silver candle to light with holy oil for the Mother of God, the Glikofilusa. The last miracle of Panagia Glikofilusa was from a Christian in the town of Paraura of Enos, whose wife could not have children for many years. Coming to pay homage to the miracle Mother of God icon of Glikofilusa, he took some oil from its candle, and that was in front of the holy icon, and took it back to his house. When he went there, he and his wife put some holy oil on them and start praying with a lot of faith and a lot of faith and love to the Mother of God, and the miracle happened. In the same year, his wife had a baby son. To reward the monastery for the good that they had done to him, they gave the monastery a small horse, and in front of everyone they said what Mary, the Mother of God, had done to him. In the year 1800, the abbot of the monastery Filotheou was returning from Athos, Thrace, accompanied by 40 pious pilgrims. They were in a hurry to arrive on time at the monastery because on that year it was consecrated and they were celebrating Easter and the Annunciation together. When they honored simultaneously the Easter and the Annunciation, then the Easter is called Lord Easter, so the monastery would have double feast. Then primarily that was the reason for which both the abbot and the pilgrims were in a hurry to arrive in time on Mount Athos. They came on a ship in port of Athos and traveled to Mount Athos. In the night the ship was between the close of Limnos and Imbros. Then a big storm and fierce wind was blowing furiously. They lost every hope of ever reaching their destination. The abbot, more than all the others, was sad because he could not attend and handle part of the double ritual of Easter and Annunciation. But he kept his courage and tried to comfort and encourage the desperate fellow passengers. "Don't be afraid," he said. "Have confidence in Our Lady. She always has kept us from dangers. She will not and cannot abandon us now." Meanwhile, the boat rose and fell on the waves, and it was dragged by the wind and the rocks of the steep coast. He no longer hoped for help or salvation. Their desperation had reached the top, and escape from that position and steering the ship without a helmsman was unbelievable. Let's imagine the desperation both of the crew and the passengers on board. All of them were sure that the ship would sink. But behold the miracle of God. Suddenly the ship, without a driver, it changed its route and pulled itself northward. The result was that Virgin Mary was driving the ship without being seen by anyone, in front of the frightened eyes of the people who saw that the ship was driven alone. Soon the boat pulled to the shore, and it stood calmly and securely on the sandy beach. Nobody knew who had taken it to the shore. When they understood what had happened and saw that they were located in a safe place opposite the island of Athos, then they observed with admiration that the wheel of the ship was tied in place with the help of Our Lady. Everyone fell on his knees and thanked the Virgin for the great wonders and their salvation. They started again and arrived at last to the port of the monastery Filotheou to celebrate not only the double feast of the Annunciation and the Easter, but the triple feast, because the miracle of the Virgin had saved them from both great and terrible danger.
Θα πάμε σε καρδιές μετά από συγχωρήσω το βομβίσομεν Χριστός God.